In this type of problem, the directions will say, I'm going to write it here, that we're going to solve this using substitution. Let me write that down here. When they ask us to solve using substitution, what that means is that we're going to replace something. I'm going to write that down so everybody remembers it. If I can move this around somehow. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. What this means is that we're going to here's the key word, replace. Every time that we do one of these, I want you to tell me that word. We're going to replace one of our variables. And a variable is just a letter. In this problem, we have two letters, x and y. We could replace either one. We'll do the one that's easiest. We're going to replace one of the letters. Let me put that in. With an expression. That's all that substitution means. We're going to do that every time they tell us to solve a problem using substitution. I can't get it to copy. All right. Well, anyway, so what we're going to do first is find a variable that's by itself. And if there isn't one, we'll make it by itself. So in this problem, the variable that's by itself is right here in, I don't know, purple. Y is equal to -8. And that means every time we see the letter Y, we're going to replace it with a -8. That's the key word, replace. So I'm going to go, but we're going to do it in the other equation. I'm going to go back to this equation, the other equation, the top one, and I'm going to replace that Y with a -8. Okay. Now keep in mind that there's already a negative in front of that Y. So when we write this again, I'm going to write everything that I already have again. Okay, but I'm going to replace the Y. In fact, let me put that Y with a different color. Let me just change that Y to a purple here. I can erase it, yeah. Replace that Y with a purple Y. So I'm going to write that problem one more time, exactly the same as I have it there. -3x minus y is equal to 11. But like I said, I'm going to replace that y. I need more room here. So let me see if I can. Should have drawn it further down. Okay. Let me just spread this out a little bit. When you do this on your paper, you can just kind of erase it and everything. There we go. So that's the same equation I have on the top, but let me use two words. Let me use erase and replace. I'm going to erase that y, and I'm going to replace it with what we said y is -8. -8, and let me do it in purple. So remember, there was already a negative in front of that. So we have -8. I'm going to use another word besides negative, and that's the word opposite. The opposite of -8 is +8. Another way to think of it is we take this black and this purple and we put them together and make a plus symbol. So it would be +8. Okay. +8, and that's 11, and that's -3x. Okay. So now we need to get the x by itself. Of course, they added 8, so we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. I'm going to subtract 8 from this side and subtract 8 from that side. Then I'm going to have -3x, and 11 minus 8 is 3. And the last thing I want to do to find x is divide by -3. And so I'm going to get that x is equal to 3 divided by -3 is negative 1. So my x value is negative 1. Now we're not done because we have to find y also. But we can substitute again. We can go back to our original problem and and wherever we see the letter x, we can replace it with a negative 1. So remember our original equation was negative 3x. Let me put the x in parentheses. And a different color. Negative 3x minus y is equal to 11. And we're going to erase and replace. Remember what we said that x was? It's down here at the bottom. X was negative 1, so I'm going to erase that x and replace it with a negative 1. Okay? And we'll simplify what we have. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Okay? And now to get the y by itself, we want to do a couple of things. We want to subtract 3 from both sides. And we'll have negative y is equal to 11 minus 3 is 8. And really there's a 1 in front of this. Somebody have a question? Okay. So if we divide by negative 1, we'll get that y is equal to 8. I'm going to write what I just said, but I'm going to do it another way in a second. So if negative y is equal to positive 8, then positive y is equal to negative 8. So that's the two things we wanted to find. And so when you write your answer, always put the x first. Negative 1 and negative 8 is our solution.